Good afternoon, everyone. It is wonderful Wednesday. It is another great day to be alive and another gift not only to receive, but to give as well. I wanted to start the show off a little early today because here in Florida, we just had a Category 4 hurricane hit the Big Bend slash Panhandle area of our state. So just want to put it out to everyone today that our thoughts and prayers are with everyone who has been affected or is going to be affected by this awesome Category 4 hurricane, in which now it's already made landfall over, I want to say, 5, 6 hours ago, but it's moving at a quick rate. So it is moving, but still, the damage is still yet to be assessed, and also more importantly, there's still probably more damage ahead for those who's in front or beside or even miles and miles away from the center of this hurricane. So my thoughts and prayers are going out to not only the ones literally being affected by this right here, right now, but more importantly, the families and the communities who not even are living in those affected areas, because they are going to get affected too in one way, shape, matter, and form, because family is part of community. And like I said, that's why I wanted to get on today, because yesterday was kind of, I guess, weird that we had Sharon Care with BHD scheduled yesterday, but because of this very hurricane, I ended up having to forego that and really uh, being mindful that a hurricane can turn at any given moment and everything. So that's why I was at my traditional job yesterday, setting that up, get ready for that. So we'll get right into it today. Our great guest is already here. Mary, from all the way from the UK, is here with us today. Hello, Mary. How are you doing today?
Hi, Chris. I'm very well, thank you. Yes, all good here, thank you. And no bad weather. So, yeah, I've had your compadres in my thoughts today. Gosh, because we'd heard about this hurricane coming through and then I saw it on LinkedIn. Very serious. Yeah, I hope everyone
Yeah,
is okay.
Category 4. That's over, I think, 140 mile per hour winds. So that
Yeah,
is no joke.
no, they were saying it was akin to the severity of Hurricane Katrina, which happened some years ago. And I thought, what? That's
Yes.
bad, really bad.
Yeah, Hurricane Katrina was no joke either, because it
No.
flooded all New Orleans like no time flat. And there's still parts of New Orleans that still to this very day hasn't even recovered.
No, I can believe. Well, the devastation is hugely costly, not only in human suffering, but financially and in rebuild. I mean, it's coming back from that to that level is enormous, and it can take years.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I really hope that. Well, they said it was coming. What can you do except make a best plan and follow the evacuation plans? But it's just, yeah, it's just horrible for people. Horrible, horrible.
But when you think about it, Mary, and see one of our great team members here at Bringing Humanity Together, Monica, which you'll meet here in just a little bit, um, she posted a post about storms. And the way I look at storms, Mary, is not the storm itself wreaking havoc and displacing people or killing people or whatever, but it's because, see, that's not the detractor that will happen to a
Mm,
lot of us in and of itself. But for me, it's how we show up to that storm that matters. Are we going to let the storm consume us, take us, and just say, wallow in our pity? I mean, just look no further than the people in Hawaii who got literally blasted out of their homes from a wildfire
mm,
that was could have been avoided, and people knew years in advance, saying, hey, this electric stuff that you guys are doing right now, it's not going to be feasible, because we see something coming down the pass that it's going to light up something, and next thing you know, and all those things could have been prevented, but yet no one saw the signs. So, like I said, for me, it's about how we show up to the storm. And if we're going to show up to it and say, hey, not only am I in the storm, I'm going to really not be knocked down and be kind of consumed by what you're presenting to me. I'm going to take it for what it is and say, hey, I'm going to move forward regardless whatever happens. Because, see, I just truly know this, Mary. We can't even put a price on life. Absolutely, 110%. We can't even do that. But what we can do is be thankful and grateful for what we have. We can lose our house. We can lose our cars. We can lose our literally our very essence of who we are with our clothes and our pictures and all that. But most of that can be replaced. But really, when you really think about it, Mary, you cannot replace someone who is lost. Because if they're lost by fire, lost by tornado, lost by an earthquake, or lost by even a storm, we really can't do that. So that is why I truly believe it's how we show up to that really matters.
Yeah, absolutely. It's true. I lived in Cape Town for 7 years, and regularly every year, Cape Town would erupt in fire. We used to have the most terrible, and they still do, the most terrible bushfires, which would just rip through Table Mountain. And one year, it just seemed that the whole of the Western Cape was alight. It was just appalling. Fortunately, in that particular instant, well, in those instances, because it's up on the mountain, the threat to life is minimal because they've got their act together over there. Although they're still fighting wildfires, and if the southeast is pumping, then they're struggling to actually control it, because it's just like someone getting a big pair of bellows out and blowing it nicely along. But the problem comes is when the fire starts moving down the slopes and heading towards housing. I remember one year when I was living there, my friend and I were watching it very carefully, because we were literally thinking, well, we could be having to get out the house, just grab what we can, because it's coming. Fortunately, the wind changed right at the 11th hour. And, the fire services are just incredible. But it is, I wouldn't want to live in that situation constantly. It requires enormous grit, I think, because you have to accept, particularly where those people are living, that this is part that goes with the territory, that they're living in a part of the world where these kind of devastating weather patterns show up on a regular basis. And I think having to live with that and accept that, I don't know if I could do that. It requires a certain kind of strong mentality to accept that, your life could change from one season to the next. You could lose everything, and it might not be the first time. So coming back from that time and again, it is tough. Yeah, let alone your own life, but it's tough.
It is, and that's why I wanted to get on a little bit early to extend my heartfelt condolences and thoughts and prayers to everyone who will not only will be affected by this hurricane, but the ones who are potentially going to have that havoc and storm surge and everything going to show up into them. So again, I'm like I said, just can't wait to make sure that everyone is literally can be safe and sound from this. But I'm not, and I'm not mincing no words here. I just know that there's going to be some people who will be devastated, loss a house or loss a car or even pets and that kind of thing. And they might even be loss of life. And I'm not going to negate that. But I would love to see everyone come out of this on the better side of this. So let's jump right into the conversation with you, Mary. Thank you so much for coming to share your story on Conversations for Humanity. I see we have Crystal here with us today. Sashi is here with us today. We're glad that you are here. Crystal, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. We're actually headed to the pool. Matt surprised me, and I just wanted to jump in and say hi real quick and share a crazy idea for, like if we ever did like a sponsored get together, have Bill Burnham do a comedy central thing for bringing humanities together, since he has the one song "Healing the World with Comedy" and everything. Nice. He's all about that. So I just had it was a funny idea because we were listening to him on our way to the pool because I needed some self-care, and Matt was like, you love swimming, let's go to the pool. We have the afternoon before we have to go to T-ball for his nephew's game. So he's like, you really miss it. So we're going to go do some self-care for you and go swimming. So, and I just had the idea and knew figured I'd jump in and say hi and say, I do love you guys. And I'm sorry. I just have been a little needing to refill a little. That's why I haven't been around. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to
No
dump
worries,
in the
no
water.
worries. We're glad that you're here. Sashi, how you doing today, ma'am?
Yeah.
Hi Chris, hi Crystal, hi Mary. I'm doing absolutely fine. I guys, you all are doing good as well.
All right, very good, very good. We're glad that you're here too as well. So, Mary, the hour is going to be yours. We would love for you to come share your story today with us on Conversation for Humanity. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much, Chris, and thank you for inviting me to have a chat with you all this evening. It's evening where I am in the UK. I'm talking to you from a very beautiful part of southwest England, down in gorgeous rural Cornwall. The weather here at the moment is on the turn. So we're approaching autumn now. The evenings are getting a little bit shorter, but it's still quite nice and fine at the moment. In case people don't know what I do, I am actually a freelance writer with a background in social care, primarily home care, and also in alternative medicine. I was a professional homeopath for many years. I had a private practice both in the UK. I worked for a year in an editorial function in Greece for a very well-known homeopath. And then I moved and went to South Africa, where I had a practice there, both solo, and I joined a practice with an established homeopath in Cape Town. And whilst I was there, I saw many different kinds of illness, both mental, emotional, as well as chronic physical complaints. But I also did a lot of work for people's animals. I used to practice or give homeopathic remedies to one of Cape Town's leading race trainers. A lot of people who can afford to hire a homeopath like to, because the remedies, of course, don't have the side effects that chemical drugs can. And within the world of racing, this is particularly important. So it was appropriate that this particular English race trainer, actually, which was quite nice, hired an English homeopath to look at some of his precious racehorses. So I had some years of enjoying doing that, which was great, and to see the lovely results. I'm back in England again now, and writing has always been very much part of my life. In every role that I have had, writing has featured. It's something that I've done since I was a child. I discovered it's a way of communicating that I particularly enjoy, aside from this kind of vocal speaking roles or presenting. I enjoy that as well. But writing for me is a very useful medium. It's a great way to engage with people. So now I do it as a profession, and I've been in Cornwall just coming up to 2 years. Well, it will be 2 years, and my business is still quite new. I've only been in operation just over a year now, so I'm busy building it up, building connections, networking, doing lots of networking, and I've started joining audio rooms, which is very interesting because I'm meeting some very interesting people, listening to great conversations, and again, this is a lovely opportunity to be able to guest speak in your audio room, Chris. So what else can I tell you? I think as a homeopath, you know, I still have, I will always be a homeopath, even though I'm not in practice now. But I still have a great passion for seeing humanity explore different avenues of self-healthcare, rather than being put in the bracket of what I would call disease care, which is, you know, the current thinking, if you like. I know that's quite a controversial thing to say, but having been in practice for a number of years, I realized that so many people are hungry for wanting to know how they can care for themselves better, how they can use preventative natural medicine rather than waiting until they get sick and then going along to the GP or the consultant or the hospital or whatever it is, and just getting more chemicals, which basically just prop up the problem or park it somewhere, but doesn't actually get them back to where they really want to be, which is drug-free, healthy, strong in body, mind, and soul. So for me, it's always something that I will want to speak about, write about, encourage people to explore, not just for themselves, but there are some very, very good vets now around the world who studied homeopathy and use it actively in their practices, which is great. When I was in South Africa, I worked as a consultant for a very nice, very successful vet practice in the Cape, who were delighted to have me come and join them. Quite a few of their clients were very forward thinking and wanted to explore natural medicine for their animals. So I offered that option, and it worked very well. So that really, I suppose, brings me up to date of where I am now. I'm not writing so much about homeopathy at the moment because my previous corporate role was working for a very successful British-owned home care franchisor with whom I'm still in great contact. I've done a lot of writing for them in the past. I left them in 2019 to explore a role further into public relations, because I've got a background in freelance journalism and public relations as well. And when I was with Caremark, this amazing company, I was responsible for their public relations and marketing for the head office and their franchise network. So I wanted to explore that further, but then COVID happened. And as with lots of people, my life changed drastically. And I had to make some on the spot, really tough decisions. And I was in Eni Osan's audio room earlier today when they were discussing resilience. And that was one of the lessons that I had to learn then, was another lesson in being resilient, in being adaptable, flexible, moving with the curved balls, getting the best out of every situation, no matter what, cucks flung at you. You've got to actually survive, move on, grow, learn, and go on again. So I had the choice, really, when I saw my career imploding and possibilities of getting another post in public relations, which is what I was actively searching for and being interviewed for. I saw that collapse because suddenly in the UK, all the companies stopped looking at their recruitment programs, they froze. So I had to make very tough decisions because I was going to run out of savings. I'd allocated a certain amount of money for 6 months to take me through that recruitment period whilst I searched for a good senior post. It wasn't forthcoming. So do you know what I did? I got on my bicycle, literally, and I went and visited all the local supermarkets. And I said, are you hiring? Is anybody interested to have me? So I got a job in a local supermarket and I worked with them for 10 months. Again, I learned lots of new things, met some very interesting people. The job was dreadful most of the time because people were absolutely appalling. I cannot believe how badly the public can behave when they're stressed. I mean, it really was an eye-opener for me. But my colleagues were great and I learned new skills. And I got to practice, some of my writing and public relations when I was there, which was great. They had a very good in-house magazine, which was circulated nationally throughout all the stores, because this is a major brand. I don't know whether you've heard of Tesco, but it's a big brand in the UK. Anyway, I worked for one of their big stores, and this magazine was produced only for staff. But I picked it up, having that had been what I've been doing, writing for publications and magazines before. I picked it up and looked at it. I thought, this is actually really good quality, and the content is very informative. It's well laid out, it's interesting, it's informative. So I looked at the masthead to see who the editor was. And then I went down to see my manager and said, have you guys ever had any articles written about your store here? Because you do an awful lot, especially for charity in this store. Why are you not featuring in this amazing magazine? Let's get you on the map. Would you be interested? And he said, quite surprised, and said, well, okay then. I said, well, that was my previous role. Would you agree to me interviewing some of your senior staff, interviewing them, writing some articles and pitching them to your editor at the magazine? So long story short, that's what I did. And I got them in the magazine. They were happy chaps. So at least I got to continue with, my public relations and my writing. That couldn't continue, obviously, because I had to, I couldn't survive on the minimal wage and I was running out of money. So I made a very difficult decision, and that was to literally rip up my life from where I was, sell my house, and move away to somewhere where I didn't know anybody and start again. And that led me to starting my business. I thought, I actually don't want to work for anyone else now. I want to write for a living, and I want to be able to tell other people's business stories and do it to the level that they will really get good traction and they'll get the results they want. So that's what led me to being here in lovely Cornwall. And it's, you know, it's great. It's tough, but I love it. The area is fabulous. It's great for the soul. Very beautiful. I am a country girl anyway, so I'm used to living in a very rural area. I've gone full circle, really, I suppose, in as much as that I have lived and worked in big cities in this country and overseas. But now I'm back in the country again, enjoying rural life and building up my business, doing lots of networking, meeting lots of other business people within the Southwest, getting known, and just getting my message out there that I'm looking to take on some fantastic clients. So that's me in a nutshell.
Well, that's amazing, Mary, and we'll get some more great and engaging conversations to have with you today about that and so much more. I see we have Barry here with us today. Leslie is here with us today. And of course, always about being you, Brenda Leach, as her now new name is Coach B. Coach B is here with us. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing okay.
Great.
Thanks, Chris.
I'm doing great too.
All right. So I gotta know from you, Brenda Leach. Are you battening down the hatches? Is everything okay up there?
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting a lot of rain. I was expecting, well, the wind has been a little bit crazy, but it hasn't rained as much as I was expecting. We're supposed to be in the middle of a hurricane, but supposed to, because it really went a little bit more north. So I knew it was going to go north. So it's okay.
It's all good, right?
Yes.
That's good. That is good. So we're just so humbled and honored to have all of you here today. Mary, I got to ask you, and I've asked this of all of our guests at one time or another, but I truly believe in this. Is it the better question to ask is about what you do, or is the better question to ask is who are you?
That's a good one. That's difficult actually, because I suppose who am I? I define myself as a I suppose as a writer, as an individual that has passions for various things, which have led me to take them up as careers. Sometimes people, it depends really, I think. It depends if people are actually involved in doing a job that just pays them some bucks, or if that work is what lights up their soul and is part of them. Now, when I practiced as a homeopath, that was me, that was my life, you know, for years, that was what I did. But writing has always been there. So difficult to answer that. People will probably have different replies depending on where they are in their life as well. Because I have been in that position many years ago. I mean, I've been working for over 40 years now. I'm not a 30-year-old, but when I first went out to work, it was to earn a living, to earn a job. It wasn't until I got to earn money. It wasn't until I got into my career a little bit more, I realized that I needed to be doing something that really was me, that lit up my soul and got me excited to get out of bed in the morning, that wasn't just a job. So I think that really does depend on the individual and what they're doing and where they are in their life. And actually, how well do they know themselves? How well do they know what they want to do? How self-aware are they around their goals? And that can mean their life goals, not just a financial goal. You know, are they clear on those kind of things? I guess if you asked a lot of people, the average Joe in the street, you know, what is your goal? They would have difficulty answering you, because they may not have a set thing that they're aiming for in life, or that means something really powerful to them. I've got another goal now. I've got a 5-year, 2-year and a 5-year plan. So those are very definite things which I'm visualizing all the time. I see myself in it. I'm there already. it's just a case of me drawing it in and making it happen. But I think if you ask the average Joe in the street, they might not, if you ask them, what is your goal or who are you, they might struggle to answer you, because they might just say, oh, well, I'm Joe, or I'm Jack, but that's not them. That's just their name. Who they really are is who is.
If I may say something, if I may,
Go ahead.
If I may say something, Mary, that's very network marketing and something I'm new to myself. With UW, you may have heard of us in the UK, especially down in Cornwall.
Yeah.
Present.
I'm a customer of UW. Yeah.
Of UW distributors down there, and you're a customer.
I am a customer Fantastic. Of UW. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is fantastic. And that's great. And it just goes to show that when you're in that focus space, when you're starting out as an entrepreneur and stuff, you get to hear all these little stories and little nuggets of information that just suddenly go, ding, that resonates with me. That equals that. If I do this, that will do that. So it's quite fascinating, and it's nice to speak to another English person on bringing humanity together. So on that.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, UW are great. Yeah. I think they're set to, they are making a big impact within the utilities market in the UK. And I'm sure they've got plans for Europe and beyond, no doubt. So watch this space.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Leslie, can I ask you as well, what did you take from when I asked to Mary, which is a better question to ask, what you do or who are you? What's your thoughts on that, Leslie? You're on mute.
You'd think I'd get off that. You caught me at the in-between time right now. I just finished up with interviewing somebody, and I have another one coming up in a little bit. And, when I talk to people, it is not, I do a show called Client Whispers. It's a podcast and a TV show on Billionaires and Boxers Network. And Chris has kindly said that he will come on my show, so I'm excited about that. But, when you're talking to people, it's not so much, it's a combination of both, I would say, because you're really finding out what is their inspiration, what is the drive, why do you get up and you move? And that's that combination of what makes them who they are and what, feeds their soul as to what they do every day. And I truly, I believe that when you get on a level to people, that you listen to what they have to say and you ask them questions about, what are you most proud of? Then they can shine. But you also need to ask them, what has been the hardest part for you in life? Because there are people out there who will relate to that as well. And that's what makes us well-rounded as people. And that's what I think that society as a whole is a bit tired of some of the figureheads that have been out there and who are, hey, this is who I am and this is what I do, and follow me, to being more of, having that conversation. And here we are.
So I'll go to you, Brenda Lees. I know you got a lot to say on that. So what say you? What's your take on that? Well, we're working there for a second, and now, so we'll come right back to you here in just a second. So Sashi, let me ask you that very same question: which is better, to know what you do or to know who you are?
According to me, I feel, Chris, it's much better to know who we actually are. As Mary says, she's a writer, but she knows that apart from being a writer, how can she really help and how she can really, like, while she was speaking, I was going through a LinkedIn profile and I saw that she helps businesses through her content writing and her copywriting. So rather than what we do doesn't matter, it's the matter the most which matter is, like, that who we actually are.
And I truly believe in that too as well, Sashi, because see, we can tell everybody what we do all day long until the cows come home. We can tell them that to the very last breath of our day. But really, when you really think about it, in its very context and its very foundation, who we are is the really starting point to get to those other things. Because when you really see it for what it really is, it's a natural byproduct effect of everything once you know who you are and what you stand for, what you believe in, and what you really want to do in your life. And when you do that in that kind of way, that that the do is going to be in and of itself that. So I just surely believe in that. So Monica is here with us today. Hello, Monica. How are you doing today?
Hi, Chris. I'm doing well. Thank you. Hi, everyone. How are you?
Hello. Hi, Monica.
Hello. Hi. How you doing?
Very well, thank you. Yes.
Good, good.
So Monica, I have to give you some kudos out there because your post about storms was truly amazing in and of itself. But this
Thank
is
you.
even a bigger thing. Today, we have 3 people from the UK on the call. Can you believe that?
Woo!
Yay.
That's my number. 3 is my number.
So
Great.
So I
That's a
gotta
sign.
ask you that. Yeah, I gotta ask you that very same question, Monica. And I know you just joined us, but I know you got a lot to share on it. What's the better question to ask, about what you do, or is it about who you are?
Who you are is quite tricky because sometimes people doesn't know who they are, and it's not that simple as it seems. Action speaks louder than words, I think. And yeah, I really feels that once you realize, shift from that dynamics that you do something for fame rather than doing that for likes, fame, showing up, do it for others. Yeah, just being of service to others without even recognition, or just be and embedded that energy of just being, experiencing, and then living in the present moment. And this is what it matters. And my post was actually about a storm, and I'm the storm. Yeah, and I realized after 38 years that I am the storm. Yeah, but a good storm, winds of change, I believe.
That was a great song by the Scorpions, if I remember correctly. That was a great song. And yes, we can be that wind of change, and we can do that in and of itself. So, Mary, I got to ask you this. This is what really resonates with me right now from your sharing of your story. Let me ask you this. Do you believe that when you get connected with people, no matter if they are working with you or they're at the grocery store buying groceries or whatever the case may be, do you believe and take stock in that when you actually allow yourself to be connected with those people who you don't even know, but you just have that inkling and feeling that something is there, and you just reach out and just say, hey, how you doing? How things are going? Do you truly believe that that connection will turn into collaboration, and that collaboration will turn into community?
Yeah, I do. I think in certain circumstances it does. I think some moments can be really serendipitous. We are all connected anyway as human souls, one to the other, throughout the whole planet.
We're oneness, yeah. So it's in everyone.
Yes, absolutely. We are all connected, and then and through that invisible to the human eye, but through the eye of the soul, we are connected to each other and connected obviously to the higher source. For me, as a Catholic Christian, it's connected to God. For others, it's something else. But it is a source of love and high intelligence. So sometimes, you can connect with people. Again, just having a conversation with somebody in a store, in a shop somewhere, and I'm quite a friendly, chatty person. If somebody smiles at me, I will give them a big smile back, and I might make a comment and engage in conversation with them. And sometimes through that, you can find ways to help someone. They might make a comment, and because of my networking, I sometimes am able to say, I can probably help you with that because I know somebody who'll be able to sort your problem or direct you to something else or whatever. So in that sense, it's I think that's another way through our human connections, particularly if it's face to face, we can definitely help and support each other, even in just small ways. I live in a little Cornish mining village here, and there was probably about a year ago now, I saw an old gentleman staggering up the hill. I live at the top of a hill. I don't know if you know it, Cornwall is very, very hilly. Serious hills here. You get legs of iron. I do lots of walking, so I've got legs of iron. You get super fit, I tell you. It's good for cardio. But this gentleman was he was bent double. He was seriously arthritic by the looks of it. And he was lugging these 2 bags of shopping up this hill. And I saw him and I thought, this is just, I can't let him continue slugging up the hill like this. So I trotted over to him because it was just, my house wasn't far away. And I said, can I help you with that? I'm just going up the hill in the car. Can I give you a lift to your home? Anyway, he was a bit reluctant, but he agreed in the end. But through that conversation and me talking to him, he asked a question, whether I could help him find someone to sort out his roof. So, those kind of things, that was an occasion where because I knew someone, I could pass on some information, which I think I did. I popped it through his letterbox or something, I can't remember now. But yeah, in that kind of sense, there are so many different ways that we can help each other in small, to us maybe seemingly insignificant, but who knows where that conversation may go once you put someone else in touch with someone else and that continues. Or it can be on a much bigger level, which has a huge impact on a wider aspect. So I think it is very important. It's being open to those kind of connections, being open to people wanting to engage with you, and being open to possibilities of talking to people to help them if they're asking questions or they're seeking information. Doesn't matter whether or not they follow your suggestion, the fact that you've passed it on. You never know what seeds you're sowing in that sense,
Sometimes that's quite difficult in the UK to spark up an impromptu conversation. Like you say, it has to be to do with opportunity and timing. And if it's something that you can physically help someone in immediacy, then that's okay to take that conversation to that sort of level. Other times it's very, very difficult in the UK to be quite so open and honest.
I think it depends where you live.
Yes, most definitely.
Because I lived in London, lived and worked in London. Yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, I can imagine. Hardly when living in London, not many people will acknowledge you. Not even your neighbour would even know who you are. I live in Horndle on the Hill, which is a very rural area in Essex. And it's sometimes I don't talk to my neighbours that side or that side because their busy lives are so entwined. So it is difficult. And it is a bit of a stigma being British in certain circumstances. So I can relate to all those.
Yeah, I think the Southerners notoriously have a reputation for being a bit aloof and standoffish. A lot of people in the north of England are very open and friendly, very chatty, which I love actually. And the Cornish also. Oh, Liverpool too, are they?
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, but guys, I think isn't it fascinating? Because I believe in God. I mean, I believe in a universe, yeah. And then if we know that we are consciousness, we all consciousness, we all are projections of the one consciousness. So in each of us, it's a little bit of me, you, and then at different either having a different perspective, but coming from the same source and having the same consciousness is just a projection. And if we think about it that way, that we all interconnected and we all are projections of one consciousness, we are oneness, we are one. And then naturally it comes the empathy, compassion. It's the unconditional love. It's a natural form. And then I think that how we feel and how we sort of talk, how we sort of have that inner dialogue with ourselves, we will manifest outside. And if we think about, it's hard to sort of communicate in London, yeah, and I can agree with that, absolutely. But if we come from the place that we believe that, it's not, I'm open, honest, true, authentic, and I'm really going to meet on my way just through authentic people who are not going to harm me because I don't want to harm them. And it's like, it's those manifestations, we becoming that consciousness, we're becoming that, manifestation, and then we see outside. And to be honest with you, since I started to follow Abraham Hicks, shorts and then videos, it's really happening. What you believe, you become, and you sort of magnetize to your life. Because connect with the obviously about magnetism, about like polarities, and obviously connect with the yeah, and it's as above so below, with the universe laws. So whatever you feel is here, and then have here, and then believe in. Even my neighbor doesn't really talk to me, but I'm going to be open and honest. And then whatever I don't know, put a, trash to the bin or something, go outside. I'm just anticipating to see them and be open and honest with them. And maybe one day I will catch them, It's like, it's those kind of thinking. And I believe if we position ourselves that way and having those sort of perspective, I think, we can create that open and honest, communication with the community.
Yeah, I agree, because your thoughts determine what your exterior world is like. You become what you think.
With subconscious, our subconscious mind is sort of believe that, I won't talk to them because they never hear, or they like have a busy life. Yeah, fair enough. But if we talk ourselves out from this, beliefs, and then, manifest them coming out, more often, or like seeing them on the middle of, I don't know, street more often, then it will happen,
Yes, exactly. I think it's learning to think in a different way. And a lot of people, I think there's still a very small percentage of people who do use their mind in this way. And when I'm talking about mind, I'm not talking about the brain or the intellect. That is different. But if we use our mind, which is in every cell of our body, which is our consciousness and our subconsciousness, so much of our mind is taken up with or rather our intellect is taken up with thoughts which we put into it, which then determine how we behave, which then determines the results we get. If we want to actually change the way the world is, we need to change, each of us, our own inner belief structures, our own limiting belief structures, which have been put in there, sometimes generationally, but more particularly can become from our own culture, or from our family, or from the people around us, our schooling, everything.
Or conditioning.
Yeah, exactly. We carry these limiting, self-limiting, and often damaging belief systems around in our subconscious, sometimes for our entire life. And we wonder why we don't get where we want to be, or we don't have the kind of relationships we want to have. And it's all because of these things, which are buried so deep that we don't even know how to actually change it. Sorry, Barry.
I found that kind of awakening, Mary, happens after you've been to a dark place, might have had depression or anxiety or something, and you learn to craft your tools in a certain way so that you can go forward. When you've been to, my story's quite dark and quite desperate and sad in some places, but that has shaped me, not only through family and through what I've seen and actions of father and mother, etc., and what they were involved with. Now I'm in my 50s. I'm now a Rotarian, like my father was, and I'm now sort of stamping a path, if you like, to humanity by giving something back to humanity with
Barry, but that's
charitable
beautiful.
organisations and stuff like that.
That's beautiful for being vulnerable. Obviously, I mean, awakening happens that way. You have to have a hard experiences in life. This is your lesson. That's your experience. Those experiences, if you see like beautifully today as a lessons learned, this is your wisdom. This is your inner guidance, you know, that sort of a guide you through life. And to be honest, once we tapped into the soul, once we tapped into the heart, higher consciousness will nudge us, give us the signs that this is not serving you anymore. And tonight, guys, it's a blue moon. It's a time to release everything that doesn't serve us anymore. Everything that's we still sort of holding on to. Sorry, go on.
That's why I feel comfortable in this group, PhD.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, our life events do shape us. Everything, you know, the lessons that come to us, although they're not pleasant and they can be painful and very, very difficult. I think we've all had our fair share of going down, you know, into the bin, you know, really. I have too. But I think it's learning to actually, what do you learn from that situation? And it's also, I think it's helpful if you have people around you who are also who are emotionally intelligent and have got minds that see beyond, you know, the limiting experience that you're in at the moment, and support you through that misery and help you come up out the other side. Unfortunately, not everybody does. And that can be very, very difficult.
But Mary, this is fascinating what you just said. That's absolutely true. I agree with every word you just said. But sometimes we have to be on this journey, you know, alone. It's a solitude. It's a journey of, you know, of the soul, of our soul. And then awakening happens when you have nothing, you know, to sort of a grip. No friends, no family. Sometimes all the cords are being cut, you know, financials even. To just surrender to the source, to the universe, and then to perhaps take that, you know, leap of faith, and then next step to, you know, awaken fully. And then
the sad flip side of that, of course, Monica, is that not all souls make it. And they do
absolutely, exactly. But if you know, that was the choice of theirs, you know, before they might not be able to make it this life, you know, lifetime. But then obviously that's why we're here to sort of to support them through the, you know, the turmoil, difficulties, obstacles, you name it. But then I think that through that pain the rebirth happens. We have to go through this pain, because in this pain there is a release. We have to suffer to understand, you know, that through the suffering we've been shaped, you know. That's, I mean, I wouldn't name it suffering these days. I will call it I will perhaps name it preparing us for our, you know, purpose, for our soul's purpose, or to be able to step into our power. And it's the preparation time. It's difficult, obviously. It's you know, it's something that we can't really predict. We can't control.
Monica,
we have to, you know, release. Yes,
Monica, some people don't have the courage to see that within themselves, though, as well.
They don't.
So there is a small minority that have that structure around them, that have that opportunity to get through tough times. And then there is others, as Mary said, that just fall by the wayside, and it just becomes a numbers game sometimes. And that's sad in itself.
True. Yeah. I mean, the level of mental, if we're going to put labels on things, you know, the increasing number of young people over here in the UK, but particularly in the Southwest, I'm discovering since living here, who've now got what they call mental health issues, some of which they're blaming directly on COVID because of the lack of socialization and the damage it did to the human spirit, being separated from others, particularly at that very vulnerable time of life. You know, it's
That was going to be the way. I think that was always going to be the way. That was going to be the next pandemic, was mental health after
Barry,
COVID.
I think your device it does like a very weird loud.
Yeah. So I love this conversation.
Oh.
We got to keep it going.
Apologies.
That's okay.
So I want to go to Brenda Lee's because I know she's been tilting her head for a while now, and I know she's got something in her brain. Brenda Lee's, you got to share.
I love it. I love it. No, I mean, I'm loving the conversation. I'm loving where it's going, because every time like the word unconscious mind consciousness comes into the picture, it's like it speaks to my heart, because that's kind of the work I do. So you guys were talking about experiences, filters, contrast, so many things, and I just want to share a couple of thoughts. So one is that Mary, what you were saying about our limited beliefs and all of that, the way I describe it, and I think this is a simple way of explaining it to people, is that we all have filters. We all have filters that allow us to experience life in a specific way. So you and I may have the exact same experience. For me, I may feel, oh my God, I'm drowning, I'm gonna fail. For you, you might feel, oh my God, this is the best thing that has ever happened to me, and this is gonna allow me to get to A, B, and C. The difference between you and me is our filters, is the way we analyze, the way our mind, consciousness and unconsciousness, take that information kind of and digest it and make it our internal representation, which at the same time becomes our reality, right? And these filters are known as our emotions could be filters, our experiences could be filters, our belief system, which could be passed down to us through generations, or for those of you who believe in past lives, could be things that we may be bringing into from our past lives, or it could be as simple as our personality traits, the way like even genetics could play a key role on how we interpret certain type of information, among other things. And the key thing is recognizing that if we are able to influence those filters, we're able to then influence our life, and as a result, manifest the life we want. When people come to me and they say, oh, I want to manifest A, B, and C, and I'm struggling with manifestation, and blah, 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 it always comes back down to the filters. So let's look at what are your filters, how are you experiencing your life, right? And based on how you are experiencing your life, that's the manifestation that you're creating, because we're manifesting 100% of the time. And I think that was one point. The second point I wanted to make was in terms of people's awakening. I think nobody will learn because you tell them you have to learn. I think people learn when they're ready, and not everybody is ready at the same time. And some people, it takes them 10 fails to recognize, oh my God, I need to do something different. For some people, it takes them 2 fails to recognize, oh my God, I need to do something different. And I think what we need to recognize is that we can support the people in this transition and this awakening, but until they are ready, they're not going to see they're not going to understand the information we're sharing, and they're not necessarily going to see the benefits of the information that we're sharing. Once they recognize that they're ready, it happens at the speed of light. It happens instantly. It's like all of a sudden, now everything in their life starts to unfold at a speed that you couldn't even believe it existed. And then it's all of a sudden, now you start to get signs everywhere. Now all of a sudden you find 100,000 people that think just like you. But then in the past, it was they were 100,000 people. It was 100,000 different people who were thinking the old way. But once you make the switch, because your thoughts, your programming becomes your reality shifts that moment you make that shift. So it's all about being ready. It's all about being open, but also for us, which I think for me, it's the hardest lesson ever, is just because I'm in a certain point in my evolution doesn't mean everybody is in the same level. So I need to value and respect where people are coming from, and I need to help them baby steps get to where they should be going. But it happens if and only if they're ready.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think a lot of that also goes back to, as I was saying, people are not ready because their internal messaging, their paradigms, which sit in their subconscious, which are only driven by emotions. You know, you can't. Your subconscious doesn't think. It's your conscious and your intellect that thinks. But the thoughts create emotions, and the emotions create actions, and the actions will get you the results. And sometimes they're not the results you want. But until people actually are in that place where they, as you say, they can hear it, and then begin to understand the way it all works, only then will you get some kind of forward movement. I can see that with my own family, which is tragic. You know, there's someone in my family who I love dearly, but they are so stuck, but they just can't see it. It's like this hamster wheel of misery that goes round and around and around, and you think, oh, why can you not see? Oh, God love you. You know, I would just love to like take you out of where you are and whoop, put you in a better place. But that's not for me to do that. That's for them to actually,
because they're not ready.
They're not ready.
But we have to sort of, I think we have to plant those seeds, you know, or raise awareness. They're not ready for that truth as yet. But then once they know that the support is there somewhere, or whatever they start to feel or, you know, awaken to the truth, they can obviously get the help that's needed. But I truly believe that when we come in from the unconditional love, when we start from asking ourselves, what's the purpose? What's the what's the justification for my actions? And if you're coming from the unconditional love, you won't get it wrong. You will always have that compassion. You will always have that empathy. You would understand that we are one. We are one at a different level of consciousness, projected through one consciousness. Millions, billions of people coming from one source, awakened in a dream still, not awakened fully, because that's consciousness still sleep. And then it's so fascinating. It's like, I believe that's the cosmic dance, but and I truly believe that if they would have enough of suffering, because it's like you always have a choice, love or fear. If you choose fear because you don't know how to open your heart, you can't come from that coherent vibration of your heart, link it with the soul, tapping into the source, then you're still in that fear, you're still in that suffering state. Once you understand, okay, I have enough suffering, I don't know how to tap into my soul, but I will surrender, it will happen. But unconsciously still they will be nudged to the correct path, but they'll need to choose not to suffer anymore, because once they sort of still comfortable and confident within a suffering bubble, if you like, they will be going through the same circles, as sort of cycles and patterns, until they recognize and understand, okay, I can't take it anymore. It's like it's happening to me all the time, all over again. It's like crazy. So
but I think one of the big
merry-go-round occasionally.
I think one of the big problems that gets in the way of all of us humans at one time in our life, or it does persistently, it's something that we have to battle all the time, that gets in the way of us living in the right place and from the right place, is our ego. And ego is tied up so much with fear, anger, anxiety. Our ego will protect us from all kinds of things. It will keep us in a place that is useless, futile and uncomfortable, but it will do anything than move out of that because it's safe there, even if it's shitty.
Absolutely. And I agree with this. And then we are living in a world full of egoic minds and pandemic of ego, pandemics of disconnection, and then worlds of neediness, appreciation, validation, liking, posts and things like this for just, bursting that ego. But then I believe once we truly, awakened or at certain vibrations, higher vibrations, state of consciousness, that ego is being smashed almost, there's a death of ego happens. Then we understand that what's the purpose? Why I'm here? I don't do it for money. I do it for higher purpose. Money is just a byproduct, of it. So it's like, if you're coming from that, start from this position, I think, you're destined to succeed, yeah? Because there's no other option. Because once you're truly authentic in terms of like approaching people, they will sense it. People would crave, they crave love, they crave truly authentic, feelings these days, because obviously love and authenticity, the two higher vibrations in the universe. And then once we sort of tap into those two vibrations, there's no way seeing or even fearing or having ego. At this state, there's no ego. Ego's death. But obviously, it's important to recognize that in others, and then help them to, transcend from that ego state into that pure heart, and love. But that's I think, what our role is here.
I think the communities that I can see that in most clearly from my own perspective are the religious communities that I have connections with, both monks and nuns, because part of their vocation, their calling, is to die to themselves so that Christ might live in them. So they become less, they become less, so he can become more. And when you do that anyway, if you squash your ego and live from a place of gentleness, love, and humility, you by definition you expand the heart center.
Exactly.
And you
it's that Christ consciousness, yeah. Once you embedded that,
you see it actively working in their lives, and they have an extraordinary wisdom, even though they might be living in an enclosed community where they don't have any regular contact with the outside world and all its glitter and attractions.
They tap to the source directly. They just got like a light,
they live a vertical life rather than
absolutely.
a
The
horizontal
spirit
life.
is talking through them. It's almost like having the the triangle, yeah. And we embedding that higher consciousness. We are connected directly to the source, and the source is talking through us, yeah. And then it's obviously I used to be religious, but these days I believe in universe. I'm like, but it's that Christ consciousness that obviously that you embedding at certain stage, that higher, higher consciousness, higher wisdom. And it's, you're not talking from the neediness, from the points that you want to achieve something, or you want to even wanted people to follow you for your own reasons. It's just pure, love and support and help. And it's like you don't even need someone to sort of forgiveness from others, because you've already forgive him. It's just it's those feelings are just automatic. It's like it's you coming from that point, from that place, when there's just pure love, just this, you see everyone as a one. You're connected to the nature, you're connected to the source, you're connected to the other, human beings, and then you don't need anything else. You just the happiness is within you. It's almost like a sun is shining in your soul. And it's even on a miserable day, you are still sort of eliminating those brightness to the world.
Yeah, it is. It's shining that light of goodness out to others, and it's a life work. It's not something that we can just do or switch on. I speak personally here. Every day we have to get up and be our best person, the best version of ourselves, no matter what comes along. And some days we do it better than others. But I think it's something.
But the awareness is important. That's a good point. That's the awareness.
If you have it always in your head and in your heart, that is how we aspire to live and be in this earthly existence, when, you know, walking around in this physical shell of solid matter, I think it does help. But a lot of people, if I look around me, just where I live, and I look at the sad faces and I look at the stooped posture, and, you know, people shuffling along, they are just so switched off from what really life is really all about. You know, our time here on this planet is so short in the big scale of things that we have to, it's very true, you know, it's not a dress rehearsal.
But this
Live
is
each
really
day
sad.
as if it was your last.
Yeah, they can't see what they're missing in life, but because, you know, they have like a higher ridiculous expectation, and they're striving for the outcome. They see something like achievements in terms of like materialistic tangible things. That's why they're unhappy, because until they get it, they're unhappy. If they, you know, switch, you know, transcend almost into this, you know, state of consciousness, being aware of the beauty around us, of the free stuff, like tap into the nature, tap into your soul, you know, breathe, you know, the act of, you know, or the gift of being able to being alive, you know, or to just to breathe. That's a huge thing. And then we don't really recognize those aspects, you know, those higher, you know, lower vibration people, they don't, and they cannot be happy, truly happy from what they have. They only focus and dwell on the things that they don't have, and that's really caused the suffering. And then it's the changing that, you know, state of being into the just to try to, you know, be present and then see the mundane things, like, I don't know, mindfulness, mindfully wash your hands, just to feel this soap on your hand. And then, to be honest, I was thinking like a couple of months ago when I've overheard it, it's a cliche, like, it's like, what, feel the warmth of the water? Yes. If you really tapped yourself into the present moment and then recognize those small things that really makes us human and makes our life, you know, complete, that's the beauty of life. Yeah. And then you don't need anything else, because nothing, truly nothing, will supersede those feelings, true feelings that come in from here.
Yes, and I love this great and engaging conversation. Boy, I'm just blown away. But I gotta go to the 5 pillars of bringing humanity together, and I want to get Mary's take on them. So, Mary, we have 5 pillars of bringing humanity together, which is literally our foundation, and it's at the very core of who we are, which is rooted in leadership, human development, health and wellness, family, and community. When you hear those 5 pillars, what kind of speaks and resonates with you? Do you see they're all interconnected like we do? Or what really calls to you on one, or is it all 5 that really calls to you? What say you, Mary?
Okay, give them to me again, Chris. So leadership.
Yeah. Human development.
Yeah.
Health and wellness.
Yeah.
Family and community.
Well, I would say I would probably put them in an order, maybe, but they are deeply interconnected. You can't have one without the others, if you like. I think human development is what we're talking about here tonight, and I think that needs to be at the top, because if you are fully developed as a human being, given that we are spiritual beings having a human existence, I think we need to be our best in our different stages of human development and be our best at that we can, continuing to evolve and grow and learn. That will bring in health and wellness on every level. That will allow us to be great leaders, wonderful family people, and build a community. So they are integral to each other, but I would put human development at the top, simply because that's probably where I'm sitting at the moment. Helping people to live their lives not from the outside in, which is the current paradigm, which is why everyone's so miserable, but learn to live from the inside out. So in other words, don't let your outside world, what's ever going on up there, influence you, deflect you from your inner goal, your inner task of human development, of aspiring to grow and learn in your spirit, in your mind, which I see not as the intellect and the brain, but as your soul, if you like, because that.
And how, Mary? The question should be now, how? And this is our task here. I think we sort of need to put some tangible actions and starting to deliver that to the world, because we all know, we are great teachers. We have a beautiful wisdom and knowledge. We need to get together and align on what's our strategy. How we can deliver it to the people who are unconscious or who are sort of starting to experiencing something. They not like, they still call it like weird stuff happens to me, but how we deliver that message to the world.
Well, this
exactly.
is,
see,
this
Mary,
is critical.
I love your take on the human development kind of dynamic, and I see that too as well. But the reason why I call it human development, and we all agreed about human development, there's so many ways that you can take human development, and the way you explained it was just really phenomenal in and of itself. But see, for me, human development, especially in the business world today, will be the evolution of HR. And here's why. A resource can be tapped out at any given moment, at any given time, because see, the status quo mindset says that employees are replaceable. But what we truly believe here at Bringing Humanity Together is people are irreplaceable. And what you just shared there is literally a paradigm in that very construct in and of itself, because when we allow those kind of things to come together, to be like what Monica said, become one, then we are not just a resource anymore. We're developing people on a whole scale. And it comes down to this very quote. Yet again, I got to say it, everyone, because it speaks to my heart, because it comes from Star Wars, and it really changed my life like you'll never know. And of course, Barry has heard it.
We know you love Star Wars, Chris.
Yeah, and Sasha has heard it. But Mary, I got to share it with you, and I want to get your take on it, and then we'll close it out here in just a couple of minutes. It's about maybe this. Embracing others for their differences, for that which makes you whole.
Amen.
Right. Okay. So you want my comment on that?
Please.
Yeah. Yes. If we follow on the lines of that, we are all interconnected anyway. We're just different versions of a human being, with different shapes, sizes, skin colors, cultures, languages, viewpoints, whatever. Yeah, absolutely. It's how we actually break down those barriers, how we can celebrate other people's differences, whilst keeping us all as a whole creation. We are all part of creation. We are God's best work.
Yep.
So it's how we do that. And I think if that mindset was universal, and if ego wasn't ruling the day, one would ask, would we have had so many wars, catastrophes, cruelty, abuse that we now see in the 21st century? Who knows? But it's
man was always destined to destroy
divine knows.
Yeah, the divine intervention in the Bible.
Yeah,
man
they know. That's why we're here. It's an ego construct. Yeah, it's a power. It's a need of controlling others, controlling life, having power, being the best, being on top, whatever you name it. It's just that's construct.
That's just dictatorship. That's just the paradigm of dictatorship.
Patriarchate as well. And this is, I think, there's a huge paradigm shift from coming from the masculine's energies towards divine's feminine's energies into a creating that empowering divine feminine energies, because we live in a man world. Yeah, just face it. That's why there's so much cruelty, because our feminine energy, it's the nurturing energy, nourishing energy. We're leaning back. We don't really get into fights. If women, if the female is in too much in her masculine energy, of course, it's very aggressive and this kind of stuff. But then we sort of need to get into the state, natural state, when we all have a balance. We all have a masculine and feminine energies in ourselves, and once we strive for balance of those two, like if I'm female, I should have like a 60% of female energy, feminine, and a 40 of masculine, because actions and then achieving goals, or like setting plans or goals for ourselves, it's the masculine energy. But masculine shouldn't be in the feminine too much. They should be like balancing those two energies too. And I think we live in a world when masculine are too much masculine and feminine are very much, back off, and then they don't really step into their power, and then all of a sudden they're in a masculine energy. So it's this like
that's okay, Monica, but in the Bible it was man that was created in God's own
absolutely
image.
God, man, and a
Right?
and a wife. Yes,
that's the first perspective. The second perspective, and greatest argument in religion, especially in the Christian religion, is in the Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci. On his right hand side is not Paul or one of the disciples, it's Mary Magdalene, and it is in his own image. If you look at that painting,
of course, this is what I'm talking about. We all one, divine and masculine. We all one. I'm on a twin flame journey. I know what I'm talking about. It's like, it's awakening within awakening within awakening.
Feminine.
It's crazy.
That's the male. That's the male, and that's the sacred feminine.
Yes,
which is mentioned in the Da Vinci Code, which is a book in itself. And you can take what you want from the book, and you can take what you want from the
Barry,
Bible.
that's a deep conversation. That's
a different conversation, because don't mix the Da Vinci Code up with theology, please.
It's a very, very deep. And then,
but that's a perspective, isn't it?
Absolutely, but what I'm trying to say, I saw your comments, Barry, and I quickly, Chris, if I may, about the mental health. You're absolutely right, Barry. Today we're facing, depression, anxiety, and then every a lot of us, a huge amount of population have a mental diseases, problems or issues that they don't really want to admit openly. And I think it's all about, raising that awareness and then being gentle with them, and then creating that message perhaps to, because obviously those mental health issues starts when they awakening, but still sort of denying the fact that they are awakening. And they can't tap into this pain in a way to transmute that pain into the power. And this is what happens. So it's like, I was on the exhibition today. What's it called? Vincent van Gogh exhibition. He was very awakened person, but then he was in a mental hospital, and then he cut his own ear, and then shot himself to death after. But because he couldn't stand the suffering on the world. But this is what I'm saying. This is what Barry mentioned. It's all about started with mental health, from mental health, and that's a good way that we can address the message, and then we can perhaps think about it a bit more, deeply, how we can, send that message to the world and encourage those people to come over and listen, and then perhaps, just makes them open up or plant those seeds, so they, can transform.
Monica, when you really think about it, it's just about allowing that to occur and not forcing it, not trying to contrive it, not trying to manipulate it. You just let it happen. And
absolutely.
And I truly believe what we'll do here at Bringing Humanity Together, and I truly believe in this, it's not a matter of if this gets big to the world. It's only a matter of when and who's on board, who actually sees what we see and believe, and then in turn that we can be able to go out to the world and see what they see and believe, and just meet at the table of humanity and just say, hey, how can I help and serve you? And just take it from that, and just know that the very act of giving is in the very act of receiving. So, Mary, I want to put this invitation out to you. We would love for you to be a part of Bringing Humanity Together and work with our 5 pillars, and we would love for you to be a part of that. So what I would like to do is I want to get with you on our team call on Monday, and I'd like to get you on that call so you get to meet everybody from around the world, and let's see how we can not only develop people on a whole scale, but have better leaders, have better communities, have better, great and growing, thriving families, and really be health, not only in our health and wellness, but be healthy in how we lead and how we actually meet people where they are. And I would love to bestow that offer to you today. And like I said, I love this great and engaging conversation. Monica, I can see we're going to do great things in the UK with Bringing Humanity Together. I see it now. because the pandemic of ego with David Pushkin, that's already going to be in the works. So I see a lot of great things happening.
And Chris, be careful. We majority now on this call. Barry, Mary, myself. Shakti is US or UK? I'm not sure.
Sashi, I believe, in India.
Okay, so three main areas, but there's a lot of possibilities. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So Mary, like I said, looking forward to speaking with you again and collaborating with you, and we would really welcome you with open arms to be a part of what we're building here. And like I said, your story not only matters, but maybe that story can stick to somebody and say, hey, if Mary can do it, I can. So I just truly believe your story matters, and I'm just so humbled and honored you shared your story with us here today.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Chris. And thank you for listening to me and giving me the opportunity just to have a chat. Because, through conversations, we can change things. People's lives can change. And things can move in a better way, which is what we ultimately all want anyway for each other.
Exactly.
And we all still heal, we need to recognize the amount of still support that we give to each other. By listening and supporting, we still heal. One healing the other. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and I just love what Sashi just said about mental health. Acceptance and acknowledgement is very important to mental health, but that's part of health and wellness in and of itself. So when you really think about that, it's about allowing that to occur to where you just meet them where they are and you just take them for who they are and just accept it on that level. So I just love this great and engaging conversation. So just want to let people know I will be posting tonight not only our weekly audio call on Friday, but I will be posting, because we're finding out how this hurricane was going to go on and everything like that. I'll be posting tonight Humanity Happy Hour, the audio experience. And what we'll be doing is going to be doing this in a two-folded dynamic, because of Sharon Care not being on the on live yesterday. We're going to be doing it in a two-folded dynamic. Tomorrow we'll be talking about purpose-driven leadership on BHT, the audio experience. And then what we'll do is we'll come back on next Monday's call and show you that very video that's inspired that very great and engaging topic and conversation. So I'll be sending invitations out to everybody today. So if you guys are a part of our Bringing Humanity Together group, you'll get that notification very soon. And we would love for you to come share your story on Conversation for Humanity. So please click this link. It's already in the description of today's call. And if you see it on LinkedIn or even on YouTube, just click that link, and we will love for you to be sharing your story on Conversations for Humanity. Or even if you want to know more about Bringing Humanity Together in and of itself, please reach out to myself or to Monica or to Barry or to Sashi or even now Mary, and we would love to have that great and engaging conversation with you. So from all of us here at Bringing Humanity Together, have a great day, make it your day, and we'll see each other tomorrow on Humanity Happy Hour, the audio experience at 3 o'clock. Have a great day, everyone.
Cheers. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone in the UK.